Please be seated. The sitting is resumed. I now invite the next.
Tuvalu, my country and my home, is expected to be the first country to be completely lost to climate-related sea level rise. All of the more than 10,000 residents of Tuvalu will be forced to leave their homeland. Saltwater intrusion contaminates our farmlands and our underground aquifers, endangering our health, property, and livelihoods. Video statement filed with Tuvalu's written statement illustrates just a number of the catastrophic harms that our people face, which fundamentally interferes with our basic human rights. As shown on the screen, Lina Belletti, a government employee. As things stand, Tuvalu cannot survive the catastrophic impacts of climate change, but we are determined to fight for our survival. But to be effective, Tuvalu cannot solve the climate crisis in isolation. Instead, action must be taken together. Mr. President, honorable members of the court, Tuvalu asks that you be a part of the solution to this climate crisis.
Mr. Tuvalu may soon become uninhabitable. In these circumstances, there can be no question that our fundamental right to self-determination is being violated. And in these proceedings, there is unsurprisingly considerable consensus across participants that climate change is impeding the right to self-determination. Jurisprudence. In turn, all states can call for compliance with the right. The only way to prevent catastrophic levels of climate change is our states to implement immediate, rapid, and dramatic reductions in GHGs. Importantly, Tuvalu is by no means alone in this call. In fact, it is a point of great consensus among the participants in these proceedings and economic, social, and health-related conditions. Indeed, the General Assembly found that the administration Tuvalu is facing our greatest challenge in the history of our people. Tuvalu accordingly asks the court to keep the unprecedented infringement on our people's right to self-determination at the very center of its critical advisory opinion.
A corollary of the right to self-determination is not limited to physical. Mr. President, members of the court, it is a privilege to appear before you on behalf of Tuvalu. States must employ a precautionary approach, and they must cut these emissions not at some point in the future, but before it is too late for Tuvalu and its people. Limited to physical land territory. It must be conceived as you have heard from state after state in these proceedings, climate change threatens catastrophic harm. As you have heard from the representative of Tuvalu, without drastic measures of adaptation, her state is expected to be one of the first to be lost to forces rendering it uninhabitable and eventually submerged. Enfin, les Comores demandent